So, what is going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video where today we are talking about Bruno and some ciphers in 9 that could possibly relate to him. I feel like not too many people are covering the Chaos story. It is our new storyline for zombies. I think it is what Treyarch are intending to focus more on in the future. Right now we have both the Ether and Chaos storyline going on. Personally, I believe Treyarch are maybe trying to fade the old storyline out and gradually build this new one in. And I think they would have thought maybe a few more people would have made more videos on it, but a lot of people, including me, have been focused on the Ether storyline simply because, well, it's our premise crew, how can you not? However, that's not to say that the Chaos story isn't interesting. And one big plot twist that we have so far is of course the ending of Voyage of Despair, where we know our characters, Scarlet, Diego, Bruno and Shaw, travel to the Titanic to retrieve the artifact. This artifact that creates the zombies, that holds this immense power. The crew came here to retrieve it from a safe in the Titanic. However, we know they weren't alone. It seems like they were being hunted or followed by a member of the cult, this ancient order, who were also after the artifact. As we saw in the intro, he got to it first. He came face to face with our characters, and before they could do anything, he used the artifact to unleash a zombie outbreak on the Titanic. And so, as we know, our characters go through the map completing quests, trying to set things right, whilst also fighting off against the zombies. In the ending boss battle, they fight off against a giant eye. I believe that has something to do with some kind of mythology, I'm not too sure. It was a strange one. But in the end, the characters lift the curse off the Titanic. All of these zombies turn back into normal people, so it's like the outbreak never happened, and then time goes back to normal. The Titanic continues to sink after hitting the iceberg, and as we see, our crew escape on lifeboats, and just as they're sailing away, Scarlet, Shaw and Diego talk about where they're going to go next. We believe this was the cave that we see in the 9 intro cutscene, since that map takes place after Voyage of Despair. However, that's not the important part. What is, well, right at the end as the camera zooms out, it pans over Bruno and we see on his head there is a glowing cultist symbol. Bruno has the same symbol on his head that the members of the cult have, which left us wondering, well, is Bruno a member of the cult? What's going on? And now this is important because in 9, I believe there are 4 ciphers that have been found so far, but only 3 of them have been solved. There could be many more that could relate to this as well. If there is, then I'll update it. The 3 ciphers were solved by certain Personio, deserves more likes, and Lizzie is a bird nerd, but they are all actually really interesting. The first cipher, once solved and translated, says, "Your resolve is weakening, you will soon succumb." The second cipher says, "If you are not the betrayer, you will be betrayed." And the third cipher says, "Even a fool such as you may prove useful. Turn around before it's too late." So those are our 3 solved ciphers in 9 as far as I'm aware. They are all very short, but they are also very strange. And they could be talking, one of these at least, about Bruno. Since we've seen in the Voyage of Despair ending, he has the cultist symbol on his head, these could be relating to him. The one cipher that says, "If you are not the betrayer, you will be betrayed." Well, is Bruno the betrayer? We know our 4 characters are working against the cult. The cult is this ancient order that is after these different artifacts, like the Scepter of Ra and the Sentinel artifact. The ancient cult want these items. It seems like they are tracking down and trying to kill our characters. We are against them, they are the enemy, yet Bruno has a cultist symbol on his head, which would suggest that he is part of the cult. Is Bruno a part of that group? Is he a cultist member? Is he working for them? But he's gone undercover working with our team and he's going to betray them. Maybe when he finds out exactly what their plan is, or maybe he's waiting for the perfect time. Eventually, is Bruno going to betray our characters? If you are not the betrayer, you will be betrayed. Of course, we don't know too much about this yet. This would suggest he is working for the cult, however, we don't 100% know that. Is it possible that he's a member of the cult without knowing? Maybe it runs back in his bloodline. Maybe past members of his family were part of the cult, and so it passed on to him, however, he doesn't know that. It's also possible that maybe he's not betraying Scarlett, Diego and Shaw, and in fact he's betraying the cult. He worked for them, he was a member of that group, but he's betrayed them and now he's going against them. He's working with Scarlett and the crew to defeat them. That could also be the case. Again, we don't really know yet. If we go back to the first Call of Duty Zombies comic for our new Chaos storyline, this one was about Bruno and it told us his backstory, exactly how he came to meet Scarlett's father, Alistair, and how that led to him working with this crew. We learned that before all of this, Bruno was a commander in the French Foreign Legion. He was the big tough guy. However, before working for the Legion, he worked for a group that was involved in organised crime. And so Alistair came to Bruno and he asked him if he will help him. He wanted Bruno's help to track down his former associates, as they had something that Alistair wanted. That something was the Scepter of Ra. These criminals were going to sell this artifact to the cult, and so Alistair wanted Bruno's help to stop his former gang members from doing this. And so, well, that's what they did. Bruno and Alistair travelled to Turkey. They stopped the truck that was carrying the Scepter of Ra. Bruno beat up his former gangmates whilst Alistair stole the scepter. However, outnumbered, Bruno was actually killed in the fight, and so Alistair used the powers of the Scepter of Ra to revive him. He brought Bruno back to life, and then the two made off. And then we saw right at the end of the comic, the buyers came to collect the artifact, but of course it was gone. Bruno and Alistair had stolen the scepter. The buyers, like I said, were the members of the cult, but the scepter had been stolen, and so they killed the remaining gang members that were trying to sell it to them, which seems to be one of the many reasons why these cult members are after our characters. But if Bruno used to work for this gang that was selling these artifacts to members of the cult, surely he wouldn't have been a part of the cult, but clearly he has the symbol on his head, he must be, and Bruno is the betrayer. Whether he is the betrayer of the cult or the betrayer of Scarlett, Diego and Shaw, we don't know. And then of course the other ciphers, your resolve is weakening, you will soon succumb. Again, that could be talking about Bruno. And the other one, even a fool such as you may prove useful, turn around before it's too late, again, could be about Bruno. Could that be a message from the cult telling Bruno to turn around, don't look back, because even a fool like you may prove useful? Did they turn him into one of their members? I don't know. Since our characters are so new to us, we have literally no backstory on them. These are our first maps that we've played with them. We don't really have any story for them. It's really hard to say what's coming, whereas with the Ether characters, Richtof and Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey, it's a lot easier since we know more about them and their personality. We don't know about the new characters, but what I do know is it looks like Bruno is the betrayer. Like I said, whether he's the betrayer of the cult or our new crew, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So anyway guys, there we go. That is all for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you for watching, and of course we'll see you all in the next video. Until then, goodbye.